Hello, Lake Grove. Our 365 devotional reading today comes from the book of Acts. It is a compilation of chapters 13 and 14, put together in story 350, which they have entitled, "The Gods Have Come to Earth." That title makes me smile a bit because of the paradox of it, the misunderstanding of the people who think that Paul and Barnabas are the gods who have come to earth, and the reality that Paul and Barnabas can do what they are doing because indeed God came to earth. Well, before we dive in, I do encourage you at some point, go and read and look at these whole two chapters. In the 365 Bible, they will call it, in what is a little bit endearing to me, the exciting adventures that Paul and Barnabas have. Why, those exciting adventures include having a showdown with a sorcerer and a con man. They actually, even through the power of God, that man actually becomes blind. He has been so bent on blinding and lying to other people. It also involves them sharing the message and both being warmly, widely received, as well as profoundly and soundly rejected. In these two chapters, you see a journey with Paul and Barnabas that goes all the way to the heights of, wow, are you kidding? This is amazing. We're being so well received. They think we're gods. They think we're the gods they know, Zeus and Hermes. Two, not many sentences later, Paul, and they think he is dead because he has been stoned. The crowd has turned on them like that. What keeps Paul and Barnabas, and John is with them too, so anchored in what they have been called to do as they ride those exciting adventures, to put it mildly, and keep going? A few things I want to bring out for us. In the beginning of chapter 13, it talks about how the church is gathered there in Antioch, and they hear a word from the Lord during their worship that says, I want you to set apart Paul and Barnabas for me, God says. Lay your hands on them, and then send them for the mission that I have for them. And that's exactly what they do. First thing that keeps Paul and Barnabas anchored in the goal that they have, the mission that they are on, they have been sent by God to do it. The very foundation and beginning is being sent. Okay, what is next? Here, Paul and Barnabas, they go, and what the primary task that they are doing, they are telling the beloved story of God's love for the Israelite people. They know the whole history. And of course, Paul has lived it. You know that he was Saul who had persecuted everyone. He knew this story in and out. But now he sees how Jesus is actually God's gift of love to the world, God's very self, who comes for this salvation, not only of Jews, but of Gentiles. What helps keep Paul and Barnabas anchored in what they're doing? They know the history. They know their story, the one that even preceded them from their ancestors, God's faithfulness all along, and they have personal, visceral experience of God and God's saving work through Jesus for them. They know God. This helps them remain rooted and agile. In these two chapters, they travel all around, and what they're able to do is offer their story, offer what they have been sent to give, which is the story of God and God's great love, and then go ahead and let it be accepted or rejected, and keep on moving. The story that's really highlighted in our passage today is the one that the people are so excited that they think that they are actually gods come to earth. And I have to tell you, in my own personal experience of being a human being, that must have been quite a heady experience to have people think you're gods, To actually have watched from your own lips something come out and a man be healed, leap up in front of you and be able to walk. Isn't that a wonderful gift that Barnabas and Paul always knew who had the power, always knew who was doing what, and that it was God's glory and God's power. And there was no way they were going to let that be confused. They were free to offer their gift in great joy and humility and point everything back to the God who loved these people, who loves them. By the end of the 2 chapters, it wraps it up where Paul and Barnabas, I want to share it with you because I think this is just so beautiful. After they have experienced all these things, they sailed back to Antioch, right where they had started, where they had been committed to the grace of God for the work they had now completed. On arriving there, they gathered the church together and reported all that God had done through them and how he had opened a door of faith to the Gentiles. These 2 faithful servants knew who they were in God, knew they had been sent by God. Oh, and they continually gave all the glory to God. Faithful disciples. Bless you, Lake Grove. May you know you are loved and sent by God. May you know the story of God and from all your ancestors, including all of these through the Bible, and your specific place in strengthening, equipping, and calling new disciples. God bless you this day.